Welcome to the Business with Beers podcast. This is the place where we help entrepreneurs expand their business, build their wealth, and generate passive income. I'm your host, Brian Beers, an entrepreneur who's on a mission to inspire growth from everyone around me. Remember that you need to take the actions others won't, and you can live the life that others don't. Please be sure to check out my weekly newsletter that now drops every Thursday. It includes one quote, one tweet, one podcast recommendation, plus some business and investing insight from me. It's short and it's sweet. My goal is to provide you with just a couple gold nuggets to help inspire your growth. Go to brianbeers.com to subscribe. Hello, everyone. I'm excited today to bring you Alex Gingold. He's the co-founder of Donut NV. Donut NV is like an interactive mobile donut food truck. It's basically a party on wheels. So I'm excited to share his story. It's really interesting. They're really awesome donuts founded in Philadelphia, right? So we're going to talk all about that. So welcome to the show, Alex.
Thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate you having me.
Yep. So I gave a butchered version, but describe Donut Envy. Like, what is, you talk about as an interactive experience, like paint us the picture. What is Donut Envy?
Yeah, so Donut Envy is a very unique mobile experience. We bring the party to your door. A lot of times what we're asked, where can you find a Donut Envy unit? And we get asked, can you find us at carnivals or fairs? And although we pop up just about anywhere from movie sets to schools and everything in between, including corporate events, we bring that carnival feel to your door, whether that's your wedding, bar mitzvah, birthday party, all of that action of watching the donuts being made hot and fresh, watching our juices being squeezed fresh, all that is happening on our trailer. It's an interactive concept where it's an open kitchen format. You get to watch everything through our Watch the Donuts window and get to see everything happening firsthand.
Awesome. Cool. And that's, is that unique? I mean, most of the food trucks I've been around, the person's like way up high, you can't see anything, or they're like, they don't look maybe the cleanest or the tightest, and it's a different experience than what you just described. Is that unique? Is that a unique proposition in the food truck world, or is that like now the new standard? Like, where do you guys fall?
Yeah, it's definitely on the higher end of the food truck world. We are very intentional about the heights, for instance, that our Watch the Donuts window starts at, so that guests of all ages can watch the action firsthand.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know I've seen pictures with there's like LED lights and there's like, I don't know, like bubble machines. I don't know. There's other stuff you're doing, right, to try to make it kind of fun when you're at an event and get attention.
Yeah, it's all about the interactive experience. My partner, Amanda, comes from luxury retail management. So she has about 13 years of background in that space. And we really developed it to be much more than just a food brand. For us, it was all about merchandising, the upsell, being able to actually have a sales process that we take our franchise partners through. And then, of course, the customers firsthand. And the product offering allows us to build a sale. We have something to sell no matter how hot or how cold it is in just about any climate.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah. So take me back. How did you guys, when did you start the business, and what did the original thing look like?
Yeah, so originally it started as Cinnamony Donuts back in 2014. My background is in insurance. Post Penn State, I got into the insurance industry. Was in that world for about 3.5 years and quickly figured out that corporate America wasn't for me. I've been an entrepreneur since about age 12, and I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So exiting Penn State with an entrepreneurial degree and business degree, it wasn't a good fit getting into corporate America. So was definitely looking for something else, finding what was going to be the best fit for me long term. I met Amanda actually short time after graduating Penn State, and we quickly realized that together we could do some great things in business. She had a drive for business herself. She had worked under management of some really great brands like David Yurman and Omega in New York. She returned home to her hometown in Exeter, Pennsylvania, and we met around that time. We both had a passion for food because we had some quick service food experience in our teenage years. And we kind of took a look at what we were doing, and we said, what do we want to do moving forward? And we loved food. We're foodies at heart, and we still are. That's one of the most fun parts about what we do is getting to travel around and see what else is out there and how we're going to make our brand now even bigger and better constantly. But back at that time, it was, we enjoyed watching customers melt from within eating our product. And we also knew too that there wasn't refunds like there is on the retail side of things. If a customer is not happy, of course, you take care of them in that moment and make sure that they have nothing but a sweet experience. But the returns on the retail side were a pain point for Amanda, and prorated commissions were a big pain point for me on the insurance side of things. So, we said, let's come together. Let's look at this food industry, but brick and mortar food, pizzerias, anything along that line, we knew we were going to be tied into it. And it was, we were going to be essentially shackled down to that location, and vacations were going to be few and far between. So we really wanted something that was very flexible. It allowed us the opportunity to write our own schedule. And that's where we kicked off as a kiosk at the Philadelphia Premium Outlets Memorial Day weekend of 2014.
Okay. All right. So it was one of those just small in the middle of and I've been there, right? There's a bunch. I probably have them because I definitely have had cinnamon donuts there before. And so you just set up on certain days or the weekends, or kind of it was more of a light schedule for you guys when you started it?
So when it started, we were a kiosk in the outdoor space. So we did a ton of market research. We actually sat on the bench for probably about 3 weeks trying to figure out, is this going to work? We knew it would probably work, but wanted to watch who was there, what the customers looked like, and finally decided to pull the trigger and move forward on it. And we were outside. It was 7 days a week. But although that wasn't initially, we thought that might be what we're going to be. Is we're going to be this kiosk, and didn't really have plans from that point forward. We were just trying to get out of the corporate rat race. But from day one, we had a lot of requests of customers asking, how do I get these donuts at my special event, at my wedding, my birthday party, my bar mitzvah? How do I make that happen? And that led us to kind of the add-on, the next venture of Cinnamony Donuts, which was a mobile food trailer. And we launched our first trailer August of 2015. And that's when we really entered the mobile food space. So you see a lot of brands entering mobile food, especially post 2020. Mobile food became all the rage. And for us, we've been really doing this since 2020, very early on.
And so then from 2015 on, did it focus more on growing the mobile side? Like, take me from that point on to, I guess, whenever you started franchising or decide you wanted to go that path.
Yeah, so definitely a long journey from the kickoff of the kiosk in 2014, the food trailer kickoff in 2015, and then of course really starting to franchise 2018, 2019. But the path for us was we really started to focus on the mobile. We essentially launched our first trailer August of 2015. We had a great partnership with the Simon Premium Outlets, and they had us involved at a grand opening for a new outlet center in South Jersey, the Gloucester Premium Outlets. And for us, it was a runaway success. Just in the first weekend, we realized that that's where the potential was. And we actually ended up adding a second trailer to our own fleet about a month later. So we quickly grew on the mobile side. Eventually, we started to phase out the kiosks at the outlet center in favor of the mobile units, growing to 4 mobile units ourselves. We operated 2 in the Northeast throughout the New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey region, and then also 2 that we eventually moved in 2016 to Orlando, to Central Florida, which is where we're coincidentally based today. So we started growing in this new direction. We knew that there was a lot of opportunity in the mobile food space at this time. Kind of as you mentioned earlier, there's the traditional food operator in the mobile space isn't as clean and polished as the operator that we have in the Don't Envy space. So that was a big offering of what we were competing against. Was we had something that was above, kind of a notch above everything else that was available at that time. So we really continued in that space and continued to pursue it and learn the ins and outs of mobile food.
Awesome. And then when did you rebrand it to Donut Envy versus the Cinnamon name?
Yeah, so we rebranded from Cinnamony Donuts to Donut Envy 2017 into 2018, officially 2018. Okay. That came from market research.
Franchising.
Yeah, so we did it based on market research from Central Florida. We realized that not everyone loves cinnamon sugar donuts, so we wanted to offer a more comprehensive menu, more than just cinnamon sugar and powdered sugar donuts, which was our original lineup.
Okay, awesome. And so fast forward to today, how many? I mean, people to count this different ways, but I guess how many franchisees do you have today?
So today we have over 130 franchisees with over 275 territories.
Okay. And all those open, those territories?
So that's one of the best parts about Don't
active
Envy. We have a very quick opening schedule, usually about 90 to 120 days is our average. We actually have about 110 trailers on the road today.
Okay. And so you got the franchisees. It sounds like most people are buying at least two territories, however big they are. Do they still start with one trailer into the two, and then they add the second one later, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so everyone's a bit different. Some start with one territory, one trailer, and run it as an owner-operator model. We see quite a bit of our franchise partners starting with 2 to 3 territories, and then they'll start with usually one trailer, and then they'll work on a development schedule to roll out additional trailers over the coming years. That's the more average that we see. We also see some franchise partners start with 4 trailers right off the bat. So it's a wide mix that we're seeing. But it depends on the model you want to follow, and of course, everyone has the flexibility to run it as they see fit for their own business.
What's it cost somebody to get started for 3 territories, assuming they buy, I guess, one trailer and 3 territories, and then they grow with cash flow?
Yeah, so on 3 territories, our territories do scale or discount in price as you scale with territories. So I believe your pricing on 3 territories will be right about $119,500. So that's going to be your territory cost. Right now, your trailers will range anywhere from about $115,000 to about $135,000. And what that's based on is where we're building those trailers for. So we do very proudly build those trailers in-house now. If there's any upfits or any requirements that are needed for local cities or territories, that's where that change in cost is going to be. Typically, it'll be on the lower end. It just depends where we're building that trailer for.
Got it. And then they'll have like working capital or whatever else. So 250 to
Absolutely.
300, something that range. And
if you're taking a look at 3 territories, definitely additional working capital in any case is important, and there is a number of other things to take a look out for, like licenses, permits, storage space, and we walk everyone through that throughout the Don't Envy process.
Okay, awesome. Yes, we'll talk about the product now a little bit. So you're making, so the offering is fresh made donuts, lemonade, coffee. No coffee?
Iced and hot coffee. Yeah, iced and hot coffee. So we have a basic hot, basic iced. We also have our signature Envious iced coffee. So the best way to describe it is a sweetened espresso type coffee. Huge hit, has its own following alone. And then we also do offer hot cocoa and warm apple cider seasonally.
Okay, awesome. And so then walk me through the donut making process. I know for a lot of people, they think food and waste and like the cost of goods and like all this stuff. And I know you guys are really unique in that, the donuts cost like nothing to make, right? Walk me through kind of the process of making donuts and kind of the economics behind it.
Sure. So we do use a proprietary Don't Envy mix. It is a premium mix, and it's something that we're very proud of, something that we fine-tuned. It's not just a white-labeled product with our name slapped on it. It is truly a Don't Envy mix, which we're very proud of that. We also blend all of our own toppings as well, too, with our logistics partner. So all of those toppings are very consistent, and we want to make sure, of course, everyone's having the same Don't Envy experience, no matter where they are in the country, no matter what franchisee they visit. The donut mix itself is very simple. You simply add water, blend it up in our mixer, add it to the donut machine, and make donuts. You have 2 options. You can make about 560 donuts an hour, or you can make up to right under about 1,100 donuts an hour with our machines. And we do actually distribute our machines from Europe. They're proprietary machines to the Don't Envy concept. The best part about that is we do actually warranty everything in-house as well, too. So it just makes for a very easy experience for our franchise partners, so that they're not having to deal with a third party on equipment.
So this is the process. So I understand it. So they take the powder, they add the water, they put it in a mixing machine, they get the the gooey stuff, and then they're pouring that into the donut machine. Then the donut machine is the one that's actually forming the donuts, like mechanically?
It is, yeah. So
and then it puts it through the fryer belt, right? And then just pops out the other side into the cooling rack. I think
yeah, you got it. I think you're ready to make donuts.
I saw a couple videos in preparation here. It looked amazing because it was just like this conveyor belt making these tiny donuts that were like 2 inches, 3 inches big. So super simple, right?
About 2 inches. Yeah, you got it. So the donuts are formed by the machine. They go through an oil river. That oil river has some flippers in it, and it's flipping the donuts, so you're not manually doing that. And then, of course, bagging the donuts and topping them and getting them out to customers. But our average service time is usually about 35 to 45 seconds per guest. So you're able to serve very large volumes of customers, in a very short period of time. And that's definitely a big part of the experience and the success that our franchise partners are seeing as well.
Okay. So what does the staff look like for an event? Two people in the trailer?
2 to 3 is going to be your average. For an average event, I would say 2. We always kind of give the advice for anyone that's new in your first couple of months of launching. Probably have a third set of hands just with trailer setup, trailer breakdown, and kind of everything in between, maybe some refills and everything with getting product out the window successfully. But it's very common to see 2 at most events, and then 3 for your larger events. For your really big events like your music festivals, possibly 4. Surprisingly, one of the biggest comments we get is the trailers are very roomy. So they're about 7 feet, a little over 7 feet tall inside, and you can actually comfortably fit about 6 to 7 people inside. So if you want to bring the whole family and make donuts inside and serve a festival, you can.
And so what's from a production standpoint, so you got, let's say 3 people in the thing. Is the cashier or someone else making the donuts, the custom toppings, and someone else serving drinks? They have different stations and roles that they're working, or what does that look like to increase the efficiency?
Yeah, so everything is station based. I think that's one of the most successful attributes of any quick service brand is how you're going to best utilize your staff and of course get product out very quickly. We're able to get our product out quickly because we do have everything station based. So we have our cashier. That cashier in a 2-person setup is going to be servicing the window, greeting customers, providing the drinks and gathering that all together. And then also you're gonna have your donut station as well too. So they're going to be making the donuts, topping the donuts, refilling the mix, and making all that product happen. So that's your typical 2-person setup. We call it the 2-person or the 2-employee play. Yep. If you have a 3-employee play, you usually have someone dedicated just to beverages. And as you include more, let's say you have 4 employees, that would be an extra set of hands to refill product and just make sure everything on the back of house is refilled and where it should be.
And then are all the donuts in terms of the toppings made to order, or do you kind of have are they making a little inventory of the cinnamon and the popular ones, or are they all just everything's on demand?
So the donuts themselves are a vanilla cake donut. Those are all made to order. That helps us keep our costs down, just because we're making those donuts on demand. It's relatively limited waste because of that. We're not pre-topping anything because the donuts would get soggy potentially. It also would increase waste. So we don't top anything ahead of time. They're all topped at the time of order. They're made at time of order. They're topped at time of order. And it's a very simple process for the franchisees on the topping side because everything is either shipped to their door or it's already it is shipped to their door. But with the toppings, you're not blending or grinding anything. All those toppings are already blended and grinded and then packed in donut empty packing.
Okay, awesome. And I know in your, in the FDD, you do have an item 19. And that's for one of your corporate locations. You have a P&L for 2022. Is that?
We do, yeah. Correct? So that
Yep.
Our item 19, for 22 is in our FDD, and that trailer is based in southeastern Pennsylvania, in your neck of the woods, out of the Malvern, King of Prussia area.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so in that, I mean, you list a number of expenses, but we have food costs for 2022, so maybe a little out of date here, but at 6%. Is that still in that range? That's in the single digit range?
So we call, as the item 19 calls it, we call it a little over 80% adjusted net profit. That actually removes franchise fees as well too. So your margins are very high on this, as long as you're maintaining.
Very high. Okay.
They're very high as long as you're maintaining your product consistency, really watching your product and making sure that everyone's in the right spot. You're not just making donuts to make donuts. As long as you're watching your product and the production, it is a high margin product.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So in that, someone will see, and they can obviously get this as they talk to you. But in that trailer to $200,000 and gross sales and had 84%, $169,000 in adjusted net profit after franchise fees, which include franchise fees, fuel, royalties, food costs. Does not include labor and some obviously other costs to run a business, but super high margins. I mean, a lot of food cost businesses is the food cost is like 20 to 30%. And yours, I mean, it's 6% or whatever, single digits, right? Whatever it ends up being. But I think that's what makes this kind of really unique is that it's, you're serving powdered in water, and there's like the shelf life is pretty long in the donut mix from what I recall, right?
Yeah, the donut mix has a 1 year shelf life.
Yep, that's awesome. So then talk about the next part. So it's pretty simple. It sounds like to operate it. Now you got to get in front of events, right? It's all event based. I'd imagine the franchisee, himself, herself, or a salesperson has to go out and like they have to get in front of these events and these businesses, these corporate events, these birthday parties, Hanukkah, like whatever. So like walk me through like how do you guys help people get in events, and then what do you train the franchisees to do in order to hit these numbers?
So the classic saying at Donut Envy is, if you never book a single event, you never have to make a single donut in your life. So at the end of the day, Donut Envy is a sales and marketing company. That's really important for franchisees to know, or prospective candidates that are looking at the concept. Of course, we make a great product, and that's really important to make sure product consistency and quality is there, that we deliver on the front end. On the back end, at the heart of Donut Envy, it is sales and marketing. It's all about making relationships in your local communities, being a part of great organizations, and giving back as well too. So very frequently we partner with local colleges, schools, universities. We're partnering with event organizers, and also advertising ourselves directly to consumer as well too for those birthday parties and those weddings. So it's quite a mix of the customer we're targeting. We also have there's some options too on the franchisee side of what they want to go after. So on the company trailer, we focus very heavily on prepaid catering. We're focusing on that corporate catering. We're focusing on those prepaid events with schools, universities, distribution centers. Some of our franchisees choose to be 100% kind of following a vending model where they're popping up and just selling directly to consumer. Or I'd say on average, the mix is a 50-50 balance of both of those. But what we do is we take everyone through a 5-day training program. We call it Donut Envy University. We're going to cover sales and marketing for 2 days, and then we're going to spend 3 days hands-on making donuts and making the product. So we do devote a significant portion of time, about 40% of that time, to really understanding how to book events, what questions to ask, what the sales process looks like, and making sure they understand how to book events and do so very confidently.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess other pros and cons to both ways, the corporate events versus the kind of on-demand festivals and such.
Yeah, I mean, they both follow different models. On the vending side, you're hoping that customers come up and purchase from you. On the corporate catering side or the prepaid side, of course, that's prepaid business. So whether, let's say you have 200 guests that are prepaid, whether you serve 1 or 200, you're still, seeing guaranteed money on that. That does come with, dedicated work of actually booking the events and making those relationships. So just depends if you're willing to put the groundwork in to actually establish those relationships, or if you prefer to just kind of pop up maybe at a local gas station, local events. Both are good options. It really depends what fits a franchisee's model. If they're, of course too, it's going to vary if they're owner operator, if they're managing their manager and they have a truck manager. So a lot of flexibility in how they operate. And that's one of my personal favorite parts about Donut Envy is that flexibility.
Yeah. So talk a little about that in terms of like some of your franchisees, some of their backgrounds. I know in a lot of material, you're targeting, corporate executives. So hiring people, maybe they're looking to quit their job and become a franchisee. Some people, want some sort of transition period where they can kind of try to do both and try to balance both. Obviously, it takes a lot of work to get a new business off the ground. Like someone's got to do it. So kind of walk me through kind of the different models and what you've seen, how you've seen success there.
So we've seen quite a mix of both. We see on the owner operator side, we see a mix on the traditionally what's referred to as semi-absentee. We really refer to as managing the manager, because I think it's important for anyone to understand that they're going to have involvement, making sure that their management and their business overall is successful. So that's something really important to understand and to know. But both are great models. It just depends on how you want to see the business through and how you want it to operate. But we have operators on both sides coming from corporate America, leaving their positions to be in Don't Envy full time, as well as those that do hire truck managers and are just overseeing operations from a higher level.
Okay. What's any idea of the mix of your current 130 franchisees?
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. What was that?
Yeah. What's the current mix between like 100, of your group between the owner operators and the manager?
I would say it's a pretty even mix between the two. We see, as Don't Envy's grown, the franchise mix has definitely shifted. Initially in our first year or two, we really saw a lot of owner operator. And then as we've grown, we've seen quite a bit of increase to the managing the manager type situation.
Okay. What, in terms of your largest franchisee, how many locations, trailers, however you measure it, what does that look like?
So our largest franchisees right now have 9 territories. Those are spread between 2 states. In terms of operations, we have another not too far behind with 8 territories that actually started with 4 trailers right from the start, specializing in the outlet centers very similarly to how Cinnamon Mini Donuts got started originally. Okay.
So that's pretty good. I mean, if they've got 9 territories in 2 different states, are they far away states? Like not Pennsylvania, Jersey, but like, are they a little bit?
Yeah, neighboring. So Arizona,
okay.
Utah, in that case.
Okay.
And the other is in Texas.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I guess that partly proves to this kind of the scalability of the model. I think a lot of people, at least that listen to this podcast, they're looking to how to get into a business and franchise and how to make it scalable, because there's tons of brands and concepts that aren't really as scalable, or maybe the franchisors don't really want to encourage growth. And so I guess it's encouraging for someone who's looking for that, for Don't Envy potentially to be able to be that model, and have other people who are kind of doing it and kind of, laying the path down that they can follow for making this a sizable business.
Yeah, and that's one of the great parts about going through a system like ours, is that you do get to go through validation calls and leadership calls, with our team, but also with current franchisees. Of course, hear what they're seeing firsthand. One of the best parts too about Don't Envy is, each territory is designed to have at least 1 trailer per territory. Our average population is 100,000 people per territory, but additional trailers can be added per territory as well too. So even if you start with 2 or 3 territories and decide each one is able to hold 2 to 3 trailers, you can definitely expand your business in a number of different ways.
Okay, so 100,000 people, and then what are they out for the territories? And then what else are you looking at? Or are they looking at to determine, hey, is this a viable territories at events or schools or corporations or like some of these other revenue streams?
So definitely it's a diverse mix of where you can find Don't Envy today. We've seen success in just about every area, from your city environments to more rural and kind of suburban territories. It just really depends on what you want to focus on. I think one of the suggestions I always make to anyone that's going through the process is to put yourself in the shoes of, if you had a trailer today and you were trying to book it for an event this weekend, where are you putting that trailer? Make sure that you understand your territory firsthand, because of course you're going to be the one that's operating it and making it happen, or your manager will be. You want to make sure that you understand what your local territory looks like. Do you have distribution centers? Are you primarily focusing on residential? There's not a bad answer to either of those, but you want to understand what that territory really looks like firsthand. We can run all the numbers on the back end and tell you, what that territory has in it business-wise, residential-wise, but it's really important to get a lay of the land and know where you plan to operate, and also who your target customer is, so that you can plan accordingly.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. At the end of the day, I mean, who doesn't love sugary mini donuts? So
as long as you're getting from customers and making those connections, that's what's important.
Cool. Well, I think I appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing your story here, and the amazing business you've built, from scratch, just a dream, and 10 years ago to now, really crushing it and helping other people kind of quit their jobs and pursue entrepreneurship and pursue financial freedom. And I think that's the amazing thing about franchising is you make it accessible to almost anybody who wants to do it and go out and build a business, build a team, have some fun along the way, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially Don't Envy. We're in the business of fun. Of course, your standard franchises are not so much always in the food space, and that's one of our favorite parts about being out and about in your community and doing good. You're serving the sweets, you're serving the fun, but give back is a big part and a cornerstone of Don't Envy. So for us, it's all about having fun and putting smiles on our customers' faces.
Yep, it's awesome. Cool. And if anybody's listening and wants to learn more about Donut NV, they can reach out to me through LinkedIn or Twitter, or if you go to Donut NV in the franchise section, fill out the form, just make sure you told them you heard about it here on Business with Beers, and I'll get notified and we'll send you a whole bunch of resources and content for free to help you kind of in the due diligence process. So thanks again, Alex, for coming on, and I wish you guys the best of luck in growing the brand.
Thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate you having me.
That's all we got for this episode with the Business with Beers podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is to rate the show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen. Also, make sure to link up with me on your preferred social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find all my links at brianbeers.com. Please just share the podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy it. And until next time, remember to take the actions others won't, to live the life that others don't.